Lee's in here. Hi, Tara Lee.
I think we could have as many as 100.
Whoop, whoop, motherfuckers.
What's up, Soul King?
What's up, sweetheart?
How are you?
Man, I'm fucking great.
I'm ready to take a dab. What are y'all doing? Let's smoke.
I'm rolling a 5-gram pre-roll right now.
Fucking
yeah.
Jesus. 5 grams. That's going to kill you, mate.
Oh, we got somebody
Hello
from
from
down under,
Australia.
do we? Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, what's
how's it
happening?
going?
Where you? Oh, Mark, what's happening? Yeah.
Not much, man. It's 11 o'clock in Australia, so
Yeah.
Friday. That's Friday.
Friday.
So I'm in the future.
In the future, yes.
I can predict stuff for you.
Awesome. Okay, that's exactly it. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, apparently Biden wins, so there you go.
Yeah.
Hi,
Welcome.
Sarah and Jacqueline. Is it Jacqueline? Is that okay, Jacqueline. Okay. You guys can unmute and say hi, I think, if you want to.
I'll have to figure that out myself for a minute.
Hi.
I think it's awesome that they're doing this and connecting people around the world. There you go. Patrick's got the mug.
What is that strain, Mr. Soil King?
This one is Magic Melon.
Oh my God, I just love to hear that. Wish we could get that stuff here in Oz.
This is Swami's Magic Melon.
Yeah, I follow Swami a bit. I'd love to go there and smoke his weed.
It's the best high I get is out of this one. I love it. I love the high out of this.
Cool. Probably when you're smoking 5 grams, it's gonna like probably knock you, mate.
I'm not usually smoking 5 grams, but I'm smoking 5
I'm
grams
lucky to-
today because I need
I'm
it.
lucky to do one, but I might have like 10 joints a day.
That's what I'm doing, Nikki.
That's killer.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Magic Melon,
Hey.
5 grams.
Oh, hello. Gregory's here. Jacqueline. All right. Great. I love the folks that come in early. Why not? How's our sound? Can everybody hear us pretty well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great.
100%. Yeah.
Great. And wait, Tipu's here.
Tipu, happy birthday,
Hey,
Tipu.
Mommy's here too.
So how's everyone doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm going to be better now as soon as I fire this thing up. But
Are you gonna still be talking, I mean,
I
in
don't
2
know.
minutes, or it's gonna be all quiet from you?
I had a rough, stressful morning.
Oh, you need it, mate. You
Oh,
need
really?
it, mate.
Yeah. It's all
Well,
right.
we'll take care of that.
We'll take care of that.
Yeah, that's
I
what
got-
the cannabis is for.
I got a
Thanks.
video for you.
Cheers, y'all.
Too.
Thanks for having this today, Nikki and Swami. I really appreciate this. It's awesome that we're reaching out around the world. So cheers to everybody. And I
We
saw
gotta
my
bring that again, Tara.
Red River. Tom just came in too. Hey, Red River.
Cheers, y'all.
Where's Red River Tom? There he is. What's up, my man?
Hey, man, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Probably see you up in Oklahoma next month.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
that would be great.
Cowboy Cup.
The Cowboy Cup.
I love that you're going to that. That sounds like so much fun.
It's kind of scary, but I'm doing it. I'm handling it.
Kind of scary. You gonna wear your cowboy hat? You got it, right?
I'm gonna wear my cowboy boots and my shorts.
Don't forget the belt
The California kid look, right?
and a big old belt buckle.
It's gonna be cold in Oklahoma.
I have a lot of friends that are growing with big roots there. I'll probably be coming up on stage with one of the winners, I'm hoping. So we got some really good
Cool.
growers over there that
No
are
problem.
all,
Calm down.
you know, organic, really good fermentation process, good stuff.
Wish we could get big
Great.
roots in Australia, mate. That'd be awesome.
I know we are trying. We're working on Guam right now. We're in UK. We're working on the EU. Working on everywhere. It's just difficult. Canada, I've been trying to
Yeah.
get to Canada forever, but it's so funny. Even Canada and Florida, it's in Hawaii and even Guam, they don't want any biology whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like, so all you want is chemical fertilizers and inert medium, grow mediums. I'm like, you guys haven't we learned anything as a human race, how we've destroyed everything with our thinking right now? It's like our practices have destroyed the world. Like, wake up, you
Yeah.
know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Australia's got
Yeah.
crazy laws to import
We
with.
got to get into China. China needs to smoke more weed.
Pardon?
That's right. We should take a trip to China.
Yeah.
Actually,
And maybe
need
do a little bit more mushrooms.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. China probably needs a lot of things.
If stoners ran the world would be better.
I'm just handling, all I focus on is my community right now. And that's as far as I can go. That's my reach.
That's good enough.
Right. I know
that's
I can
good.
wake up and get love and give love every day in my community. Huh, Swami?
You get love over here in Australia, mate. You know,
Oh,
here. So
You're my community.
yeah,
You're my
like,
community. This is the
living in
community.
Australia.
Yeah, your community, Australia. We have this community around the world. This is our community.
That's right.
Hi, Heidi.
wanna
Hi,
go-
Tim.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Heidi.
Hello,
So
everybody.
you don't spark
Let's
up till
see.
4:20.
I see we have Mr. K, Mark Nelson, Tom Red River. And,
Red
Tom, we've met you before, haven't we? You look so familiar.
oh, that's Slippins, guys.
Must be on
Oh,
mute.
You're on
You're
mute.
muted, Tom.
I don't believe we met in person. I think I've got one of those faces. I kind of
Right.
Tom
One of the
Larman,
universal faces.
you know, Farmer Tom Larman.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of resemble each
You
other a lot.
do
so
look a lot alike. That's
Yeah.
right. You do now that you say that.
I hear that a bit. We laugh about that.
Right. Okay. So let's see what's. I just got my cup of coffee. I had a little bit of lunch, and I usually, just try and finish my coffee before I smoke my joint, because it changed. You're drinking the coffee and then smoking a joint, it changes the taste of the coffee for me. So, and then I'm hoping to get this cup of coffee finished by 4:20, so I can light up at that time, the official time, right? So
Why don't you tell us
but
about
we've
your
had
coffee?
pouring rain for the last few days, and what's that?
Why don't you tell us about your coffee? There's a story in
Hey,
that coffee.
Patrick, can you turn up your voice at all so
Well,
you're a
get
little
close.
louder?
We'll get closer to your microphone. It's hard for me. I have to turn my hearing aid up. But, yeah. So
How about
anyway,
that?
we had
You
so
hear me?
much rain that we finally getting some water in our water tank. That we were down to about 500 gallons of water, and now we have, I think, maybe 1,500, almost 2,000 because of this rain, and that'll just keep filling up, and by springtime in March or so, we'll have like almost 40,000 gallons in storage to be using all summer, and but that's just a tiny drop out of what falls here all the time. So yeah, we catch all our water in the wintertime. And then of course, our pond is almost empty now too. It's about a third full. So that's gonna now fill up with all the rain that we've been getting. So it's really kind of great to watch that process of, and we had a really drought year this year, right?
Boy.
We had like the least rains that we've had up in these hills since 1979-80. So what is that? That's 40 years that we had the driest year. So it's been kind of touch and go with the whole water. And we haven't done a laundry here or
Right.
washed our hair and stuff like that. It's been out on the edge of the wilderness here. And, but
Good
it's-
thing we lived in India all those years. We'll be down pounding our clothes on a rock in the river soon.
if there's water in the river, if there's water in the river.
Won't be the first time.
But we're totally blessed to live up here in the wilderness, and that's one of the things that gives the flower that we grow such a special flavor. So
Yeah, when you gonna move up here to the country, Patrick?
I'm everywhere.
Patrick, you there?
I'm over here. Can you hear me all right?
You got a little frozen.
Who can hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can get a little louder, that'd be great, but you're
I
okay.
was not, I really wasn't. I was thinking when you said that. I mean, I've been all over and lived all over up there, and I'm right down here. I don't have a clue. I don't know how to answer that other than I'm everywhere. I don't know.
No, we don't want to put you on the spot that way, but actually we're happy that you're there, although, it'd be nice to have, a whole trimming processing process up here on the mountain. And we'll have to think about that at some point
Yeah,
too.
totally.
But anyway, I'm happy you're in Cloverdale, because you're like a fixture. You're one of the pillars of the community down there, right? That you have good friends and the people who are the people that you need to be good friends with, right?
I mean, that's what I fought, compliancy and cannabis and safe practices and responsible farming and all that stuff, and fought it. That's been my passion. That's my passion. I love what I do. I feel like it's a calling. And so here in Sonoma County, yeah, I mean, we were the first, I think we were one of the first licenses ever given in California city. That is the first city that was ready and had all of our ducks in a row in California.
Wow.
And prior to that, we were the first city in the world to have an ordinance that the chief of police and myself created about, and with the wording in the ordinance says, in cultivation of cannabis within inside city limits, there is no use for pesticides or chemical fertilizers or any harmful elements.
Yeah.
And that was world, and the first
That's
one in the
great.
world we were talking about that. And then 64 came, we did that too. And of course, I'm from, I give heritage, and I'm from both I come from the black market, traditional market. So I always give respect to where I've come from. I just needed my mission was just to stomp out the use of pesticides and people selling weed in the name of medicine, well knowing that it is a harmful substance when those processes and pesticides and stuff are applied to a plant. So that's my
Right.
mission. I care. I fight.
Patrick, did you live in Cloverdale before the bypass road was there? Were you back
No.
there then?
No, I didn't. Right after 2000, I think, or right
That
after
really
2000.
changed that town.
Totally changed the town. Yep, totally changed the town then. I've been here since
Yeah.
2001, I think, is when I started coming. 2000,
Okay.
somewhere in there. Yeah. This is it. We're right on the border of Sonoma. I'm on Sonoma County, on the border of Mendocino County and Sonoma County, right on the border. And
Right.
it's a
Right.
perfect spot for the logistics reasons.
But you grew up down the peninsula, didn't you grow up down the peninsula?
I grew up in San Leandro, Hayward, and Fremont. And yep.
Oh, that
Right.
side, okay.
That's where I grew up in the hills of, you guys all know, you would know Niles Canyon and Mill Creek and all up in there. So
Yeah.
I was cultivating and doing my thing as a really young lad back then in those hills. That's where it started for me.
Well, how old were you when you had your first crop?
So the first time I was ever in handcuffs was at the age of 11 for growing weed in a pine tree in my backyard, and my neighbors seen me and ratted on me, right? And at 12 years old, I got arrested for the second time in the same tree for the same thing. I didn't learn the first time, but whatever. I was out for that harvest.
In the same tree.
But that, I'm a diversified individual, so you can guarantee that wasn't the only plants I had in the ground. Of course, I didn't know how to grow anything but seeded weed back then. I used to hate it. Everything ended up with seeds. I could never figure it out. Yeah, it took me a few
Really?
years to figure that out. Yeah, because I didn't know there was a male or female. I was just a kid, Everything was seeded back then.
Well, you do. And you have that Johnny Appleseed ancestry inside of you, that genetic thing. So of course, you probably like the seeds.
I do. So I still have seeds from then. I actually still have seeds from back then. I have Panama red. I have, of course, I got, your regular Columbia gold. That's, everybody had Columbia gold back then because there's every brick of Columbia gold that came in, we had buckets of seeds that came out of it, right? And I still got a bunch of Afghanistan white, Maui Wowie. I had some, I got some seeds still from then. So pretty exciting.
Wow.
Well, are they still viable? Can you still sprout from them?
So I did. After about 100 seeds, I can get 1 or 2 to pop. So now it's a project that. So I haven't been wasting them. So it's all about timing. I have my nursery. They're stored in a safe spot still. And it's the only thing I have in my life that I've carried on my entire life. That's the only thing I have. Right. So. But
Can you sprout old seeds?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a science project.
Yeah. Well.
Can you sprout old
Science
seeds that are more than
But
20 years old?
yeah, Patrick, you said you are always a diversified kind of guy, and I've noticed that in your business that how many different licenses you have, how many different businesses do you have? You have soil, you have seeds, you have package. What's all going on there? I mean, this is kind of your vision is kind of awe-inspiring.
I own six businesses right now. And it is very, very difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I have Can Remediate. We started last year, and as a distributor, and I took in my first product that failed, microbial. I realized I didn't want to be a distributor anymore because I'm a cultivator, and all of a sudden the BCC says I have to keep my cultivator's product and I can't give it back to them, and I have to destroy it. Right then I realized we're in a tough situation in this industry. I needed to come up with a solution. So here we are, Coin. Now I have a solution for all the cultivators out there with Can Remediate. We do microbial pasteurization. We have a pasteurization process, and through radio frequency, through like a sound, kind of a vibration, really low intervals and quick, not much heat. And we run over 500 pounds a week for cultivators now and give them back the product. We have 100% success rate so far. And so that's one company.
That's great.
Can Remediate. Soil King Enterprises is all the marketing and video content and everything that I do. That's Soil King Enterprises. It also hosts all my intellectual properties, which I have a lot of, So and with that owns, all the video stuff that we came up and did with you guys. And so I just want to say, a day in the life, Swami Select and Nick. It's actually Swami and Nikki, comes out Thanksgiving Day, the 27th. That's when we're releasing.
Oh, really?
Great.
Yeah. So that is where it is.
Great.
The countdown
that's
just
perfect.
started. We're gonna do with Michael Rosati, right? Doing for all the camera work he's doing.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 5 video or 5 picture images and release them we're doing a 7-day countdown right now until we release the video. So I'm just kind of marketing that. So I'm really excited because, it's not that the new season 3 day in the life is going to be different than any other one we did. And we're really trying to really hone in on like Anthony Bourdain style. It's not cannabis. We're not cannabis. We're culture. We're a community. When you get to walk in and experience eating and cooking with Nikki and Swami in a kitchen, and they're preparing Swami cakes, I mean, that's the show, right? And meeting the people and the hard work that goes behind getting to there. Cannabis is just like it's a reward. It's a byproduct of our community and what we do. And so this season is really chimed into showing the world how we do it, telling the story from the seed to the soul, and giving the life experience of what we do. And it's magical what we do with our community. This is it's absolutely, is it 420? It's 420. Anyway,
It's 420, everybody. So
420.
if you got them, light them. Let's also remember, it's not just the smoking that can happen at 420. It's any kind of way that you like to use the cannabis, even as a topical and so on. Celebrate that this is a moment around the world that people are, revering cannabis.
It's 11:20 here in Australia, though.
Okay, well, you should have been smoking for
I think I
hours
might
now.
start a
Mark.
new thing.
Well, yeah. Well, it's 4:20 every hour or every hour somewhere around the world. It's 4:20 at some point. So
That's right, it is.
it's just you're always in tune whenever you smoke, if you think of it that way.
Smoking 5 grams of Magic Melon by Swami right now. That's what I'm
All
doing.
right. You got the
5
Magic
grams of
Melon.
Magic Melon by Swami.
Great.
Well, yeah.
That's really a great
Okay, thank you
cultivar.
for
Thanks
rubbing
to
that
Humboldt
in.
Seed
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Sarah.
Yeah. And I'm smoking Menlo Pacalolo from 2019, which is beautifully aged and so on. It's a really, really mellow smoke. So, but Nikki and I have been working 12 hours a day trimming, bucking actually. We just taking the stems off, and then it's all our flower. There's going to be a guy from Patrick's Seed to Soul coming up tomorrow to pick up our first load of bucked flower that's going to go down for processing in Cloverdale. And that's the next. Now there's a sort of magic that starts to happen at this point to the flowers that, once they're manicured and then, they reach a certain sort of curing place, there's something else that happens. The cannabis becomes a different thing.
Well,
So that's what we love to smoke.
One of the other businesses I started is Seed to Soul. And Seed to Soul, we pretty much own every license there is in the California market, from manufacturing, distribution, nursery. We're doing processing for Swami Select, packaging, and sales and distribution, which is pretty exciting. So we're sending a van. One of my vans are going up there to start picking up their beautiful products and bringing it in and doing it. So that's it's crazy.
So
Well,
Patrick,
here we
you
are.
got quite a setup down there. It's really impressive what you have going on down there in Cloverdale between Soil King and Seed to Soul and all. You were a building contractor, right? I mean, you know how to build things, I have a feeling, right?
I've built 67 homes here in the small town that I live in right now.
Wow.
I've done in Santa Cruz County, I've built over 300 homes. So yeah, I mean, but that was great and that was accomplishment, but that wasn't who I was. So right now I am who I am, right? And I love being me, and I'm happy to be in this community, and this is what I do. So yeah, so yes, that's part of it
You
too.
sound like Popeye. Remember Popeye always said that, I am what I am.
Yep. Who doesn't remember?
So Patrick, what were you? So just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you were up here for one of our harvest mornings. See, we harvest in the dark. We get up around 5 o'clock and we're out in the garden around 5:30, and then we cut a bunch of plants, and then just as daylight is coming up, we get them over to and get them hung up and so on. And so Patrick was up there early in the morning, out there in the dark with us, headlamp and so on. We cut down a whole bunch of plants and hung them in the barn, and then we had this big pancake festival. But it was right. But anyway, Patrick's been one of the most recent visitors here, and so it's interesting to be here, video, digital, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to talk about now, Patrick, in terms of how do you see cannabis coming up in the next year or so?
I see. What is that? Best Virtual Harvest Growing. Joe Skinner. There you go. Joe's my CFO, wrote that article. Yeah, definitely. So what do I see? I see that guy right there. Where'd he go?
Is that okay to share his website and his Instagram? Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah, all right with me.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
So first,
Yeah,
I want to finish and touch on what you said. Yeah, remember, on the 27th of November, we're launching season 3, episode 1, Swami and Nikki. And that's what Swami was talking about is we did multiple days of cameras and a lot of different work up there. We really wanted to touch on what actually goes on behind the scenes and how do we tell that seed to sale approach and really touch on the root of Northern California cultivators. And who better to do an episode with is my favorite people, Swami and Nikki. But yeah, we were out there in the morning, spending the night up early, all of us on our flashlight headlamps on, and Swami and I out there cutting up. That's all in the video, shows all of that. Talks a lot about, a lot of statues, and you learn just so much about who they are and what they're about. And the idea is really to, as a consumer of cannabis, my belief is that if you're smoking cannabis, you should have a relationship with that plant in some sort of way. And you should also know where that came from, right? Because there's a whole story. There's so much more than going into a dispensary or going over your buddies and smoking or trying or eating or wherever you do it, consuming some cannabis. There's a whole nother world out there. And that's what we want to do. We want to tell the story of the hard work we put into where we're at today and pioneering of cannabis. And there's a lot of pioneers out there. There's one right there. Wendy's a pioneer. Yeah. So yeah, wanted to talk. Just hit on that.
Also we should talk a little bit, Patrick, about this now public event. I see you got some pictures already. The Ganjier Council, the Ganjier project that is being launched also right away these days. Yeah,
it's so fun that you're on board with that. I mean, it really is. They can call us elite. I don't care. It really is a great group of people.
We had so much fun.
We're having a lot of fun with it. I think
we had so much fun. I mean, how do you get 15 of us, influencers or people of this industry in the same room at the same time with our lives being so busy? That's almost an impossible task. But to get us in there all thinking and talking and creating curriculum to a sommelier program, the Ganjier. I mean, there was so much beautiful information. At times we all argued, we got our points across, but it was absolutely unbelievable. It was just the downtime we had, right? Breaking bread in a house in Marin, cameras all around us. We're used to that, so it's no big thing. Here we are, we're each building the curriculum with PowerPoint presentations, whiteboards, laptops, and I mean, I can't tell you how awesome it was to be a part of that and to be able to just say I've been there, done that, and been part of that. Like, it's an honor.
Right.
Yeah, well, it was the same way for all of us that were on the council for sure.
But the timing was also perfect because when we had 2 meetings that each lasted 2 full days. So we actually stayed overnight. We had this whole real great bonding, and they were before COVID. They were right before COVID got really released, and thank God, because we couldn't have done that now. So I'm so glad we got to do that. It'll come back. We'll get to do it again.
Yeah. Well, but it's interesting because each person there was kind of an expert, connoisseur, an aficionado, each in his or her own way. But everyone learned a whole bunch about stuff that they thought they knew a lot about and stuff they didn't know anything about. And it was this really total great interchange of people. And so that's another thing that's coming out these days. And
but then hopefully it'll make a real difference in the community. And in, when people go to a store now, they're going to get a bud tender that's actually much more informed, or they know that the buyer at that store really knows what he's talking about. So, I think it's going to make a little dent in the future. I think it's going to really make a difference.
And it's just the start of the Ganjier program. There's way more.
Yeah, that's true. It's just the program. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the very beginning. Like there's going to be so much more. More people are coming in, more areas, more. This is just the start of a great future in cannabis. education. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's also about two ways. It's informing the consumer and safeguarding the consumer, but it's also in the process of raising the quality of cannabis throughout the various places where it grows. In fact, eventually all over the world, that there will be certain standards that we're being able to sort of have a measurement against. And I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
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 That's fun.
Definitely was.
Well, there aren't very many left of us, Patrick, that have been in this business for as long as we have been. At least in the legal market. In the traditional market, obviously, there's still a lot of the original players. But, those of us that have actually persisted and we're still here, it's something to be proud of at this point, to be still doing it and going forward. And we're really happy to be doing it with you this year. It's really exciting.
And we talked a lot about that when we were together. We spent a lot of time together over the last month, I'd say. And as exciting it is to be on the legal side, still standing, man, you said it beautifully, and it just keeps ringing to me, is there's so many of us that haven't, we have to remember the fallen, right? There's just so many that's not with us any longer, even in both markets, because they tried so hard and lost everything in the legal market, and they're not even there for any market anymore.
Right.
And it's those are sad, but yeah, I have so much gratitude in still standing and being where I am. I too am one that, almost shut everything down. I almost didn't make it. I put everything, I still haven't made money on cannabis. Right. And I almost came to a point that I decided to shut the doors, and it wasn't worth it, but I just couldn't do that. I feel like I had to keep going, and I'm glad I did now, because it's a lot easier today than it was 6 months ago, or a year ago, or a year and a half ago. Systems are in place, we understand the cogs a lot better, and we understand really what the consumer is going to pay at the retail. I think that was a big mistake for a lot of us. We have a lot of assumptions, and our assumptions weren't correct. I'm raising my hand, and I missed the target a lot in the last 2 years. But I also am still standing because I didn't miss the target a lot, and I made right decisions. One of them's not taking that funny money. I didn't take a lot, I didn't get bought out, right? And I'm still self-made.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, that's great. Well, and it's also really like, we've been using that word pioneer a lot lately. And I think that just really applies, that we are the pioneers in this business. And that's, it's a challenge, but it's exciting. I mean, and basically all of our ancestors are pioneers, because they all came to America from somewhere. And so we've got that spirit in us, and it's something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah. Well, but I also want to, like Patrick said, mentioned all those people who actually did come before us back in the mountains, and who never had the chance to get legal for various reasons. They got busted, or they got old, or they just decided that it wasn't worth all the hassle. And so the whole idea of, let's pay homage to all those people who still are in that traditional market, who are upholding the old values of that traditional market. And the old values were good values of the various first people who came up into these mountains. They were growing naturally, organically, because they actually couldn't even buy chemicals and so on. So there's that spirit of the oldest ones up here from the hills. And we want to carry that through, but go on the legal basis, which we decided to do. And we're still committed to that as well, in spite of all the barriers they put up. So I just want to pay homage to all those old geezers and old geezettes who have done this back in the mountains for so long, and never get the credit. And so we want to keep that spirit alive if we can.
All the predecessors. Definitely all the predecessors. Like it's passing the torch, and I get to pass the torch too. Which is when I have my young video guys, Kyle and everybody that was up there with you, and they're like, man, pioneering, this is great. I don't feel like I fit in. And they were telling me, and I said, you know what, you gotta wait, back up a second. You guys are actually pioneers. They're like, what? I'm like, there's a new generation of pioneers. We are now in legal cannabis, and you guys are actually at the beginning of something great. We came from then to now broken, and we are passing the torch to guys like you that take this legal side into the future. So when you're talking with your grandkids 40 years from now, they're going to say, my papa helped pioneer cannabis. And they're going to be right, because you're capturing the content of what's going on at the start of the new cannabis era, and that's legal cannabis. So they are new type of pioneers, and we have to remember that, as long as we keep going and passing the torch. And so they got that, and they're like so proud of themselves now, because now they really feel part of, and they are, right? They're capturing content of us that they get to share with the future world. And they're at the beginning of something now, and that's called, legal cannabis. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, very good point, Patrick. I agree 100%. And no, and it is the youth that is going to, carry the planet on too, in all other realms as well. And I think that's one of the things about cannabis being one of the education ways in which, teach people about organic gardening and regenerative agriculture and those sorts of ways in which, we can be working to make the planet better. And cannabis is in the forefront of that. And the young people are really in the driving force of that. I agree that's great.
Yeah. So
Patrick, I have a question about the remediation things that you do and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. We seem to be just fine, but I'm wondering whether you're seeing other people that had their product really affected by the fires this year.
I would say not as bad as I thought. I'm seeing a lot of I'm seeing a lot of fungus. I'm seeing a lot of, looks like mold spores growing, but they're not failing the test of what there's no aspergillus. There's other types of microbials that are growing that's caused by the ash and the pH and the water that hit, but not a lot of failing. There is quite a bit though still, but not as much as I would think. And also I've been sampling and taking product and smashing it, because I'm a solventless guy, so rosin is a lot, right? So you can usually wash it and see it and smell it, and when you get the terpenes out of it, you can really see the smoke in it, the smoke damage. And I got to tell you, I've been pulling out of we've been washing 200 or 300 pounds at a time of crazy stuff for rosin and ice hash. And I haven't, and we've harvested it. We purchased it from areas that had a lot of smoke, and we aren't seeing that right now in our hash. Doesn't mean it's not there, and we might have got right, but I would say that's a pretty good sign. That's a pretty good sign. There's a lot. There's Kyle. He's showing it. Kyle's my man over there. I'm glad you're here, brother. Definitely. There's my solvent list brother right there. Yeah.
I see.
Right. Yeah, well, actually, other people haven't reported a lot of smoke damage so much either, and we certainly don't have. What we've trimmed and tested so far doesn't have any smoke residue on it at all for us. But of course, we haven't had anything tested at the lab yet. What's that, Patrick?
Your product's fine. The product you gave me, the 5, I've been checking it all out. I don't see any damage whatsoever on any of your product. I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
No, I think a lot has to do with the fact that the fires around here were forest fires.
Yeah.
So it's not like the horrible fires in Santa Rosa a few years back, or when you get houses and
Paradise.
things burning that are actual non-organic materials getting in the air. That makes a very different kind of smoke, I think.
So we're seeing a lot of we're seeing other things, We're seeing what is it? Oh my God, arsenic. We're seeing a lot of arsenic. So this year.
Arsenic.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because of the water?
No, I think it's because of a couple different things. But one is Swami just said we are in a drought in areas that we haven't seen a drought in over 40 years. So your water table is just like there's nothing to it. So everything is condensed, right? So there's a lot more coming out of the water. We have a client in Potter Valley that they dissed a section to do some outdoor by their greenhouse, and it was old vineyards that were in there, and that dust settled at the wrong time, and they got arsenic. So
Wow.
And then I'm also hearing that some arsenic is systemically pulled through trees and in the leaves. And when those leaves burned up, that ash was flying around and it was actually landing on some of the plants too. That's a hearsay, but I think there's definitely some favorite in that thought process for sure. But we're seeing this, I would say, a significant amount of that this year. So
They've had
That's
arsenic in
interesting.
Australia. Years ago, they used to get arsenic back when we had serious bushfires in Australia. So that could be a possible with
Interesting.
the ash,
So-
sure.
Huh. And I just know there's arsenic in water supplies these days. So I
Yeah.
have to wonder if some of the people that have it aren't also the kind that are having their water trucked in. Like up here in the little town of Laytonville in Mendocino where we live, they actually they have an allowable amount of arsenic in the city water that they have in town. And they upped that just like about a year ago. Everybody got a letter saying, it's going up, the amount of arsenic, but don't worry about it. It's still an acceptable amount. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't want to drink it too much, but yeah.
So yeah, I would say yes on the water. So we're experiencing year after year after year of drought. Even if we get a substantial amount in one year, it still isn't affecting the water table. It needs multiple years really to affect it, to get back to normal situation. We haven't had year after year, but what I can tell you is that that there's wells growing dry all over the place, all over the place.
Yeah.
Humboldt, Mendocino County and Sonoma County that haven't been dry ever. And so that water table is minimized. And when that water table gets really low, it all constraints, all that arsenic is not, what am I trying to say? All that arsenic isn't diluted. Now it's constrained, right? It's constricted down into a little bit. So the arsenic levels are great this year because of that. And Laytonville has always been an area for troubled arsenic in wells.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Laytonville has a history of that. So that explains probably why they have it accessible use and it's going up within the city municipality water.
That's interesting. I wonder if that goes back to the fact that it was such a logging kind of place. There was so much back in the old days, there was so much logging and timber here and milling. And so that milling must have dumped all kinds of stuff into the water tables.
I would say that has a lot to do with contamination. It's just, all trees, that whole area used to be nothing but forest, right? So, back in the day, those are systemically, those trees, they pull all that stuff out of Mother Earth. Now there's no trees there, and that stuff just settles and just filters down and filters down and filters down after hundreds of years. Here we are.
Yeah.
With more issues.
Oh, our poor planet.
Yeah.
What a planet.
What a planet.
Well, it's good. Thanks to people like you that we're going to save this planet, Patrick, because the more regenerative and organic growing and every level. Do you grow many vegetables at home? Do you have a vegetable garden that you do at home?
I do. I'm an agricultural guru. That's what I do. Like I grow everything. Right now, I'm so proud of my, I got my broccolis and cauliflowers. Are all growing right now. So I'm just like all my kales, right? Tonight I'll go home and get my kale, my Swiss chard, and I got onions. I got all that stuff. And I love it. Like I love it. Yeah. Potatoes. I grow potatoes all year round. I usually grow corn, try to hit corn 3 times a year. In
Really?
cycles. So I can harvest 3 times. I'm back to back kind of. Yeah. It doesn't always work out like that, but I try. Giant pumpkins. I'm addicted to giant pumpkins. Yeah.
And you're doing all that growing outdoor. Even the corn 3 times a year is outdoor.
I stagger them.
much
I
warmer down
stagger
there?
my seed. My first seed, I go really early, and sometimes it'll get a frost or it won't really produce that well. And then, 45 days after, I'll plant another one and just try to hit it. So I try to get 3 corn harvests in a season because, corn, once it comes right on patch, you got corn for a week, right? And then you're like out of corn and you gave it all away and you got to find something to do with it. So it's nice to be able to harvest stuff throughout. Like same with my broccolis and and cauliflowers. And I do all with that. I like to, I like to plant, 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks apart from one another. So therefore, kind of make sure I have it. Brussels sprouts. I'm growing Brussels sprouts for the first time. I haven't done that in probably 10 years. So I'm doing that again this year.
How
That's
big
cool.
did the pumpkin get this year?
It rotted out at the end. So
Ah,
it's probably
dang it.
close to 1,000 pounds.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
right at the
No.
stem was huge. And then all of a sudden I wasn't growing and I was reaching all around it, looking for soft spots. I couldn't find them. And then I went right where the stem went in. And it was
Oh my
rotting.
gosh.
So,
That's
I didn't make
amazing though. 1,000 pounds still. That's
Yeah.
insane.
yeah,
Wow.
it was
No,
exciting.
that's a lot of pumpkin pie.
I still got all the seeds out of it. So it's a lot of pumpkin pie. A lot of pumpkin pie.
That's crazy. And then Patrick, you've got this connection to Hawaii. You want to talk about that a little bit? I know that's like really where your heart is there. Oh, wait, is that a cigar or a joint you're smoking?
This is the new King Gar. So it's
Oh, that's one of them.
5 grams of Swami Select magic melons in here right now.
Unbelievable.
I'm pretty ripped right now. I'm not gonna lie.
And what's it wrapped with? What's the wrapping?
It's a king palm, so it's a palm leaf
Palm
made with
leaf.
palm leaf. So right now I've ordered I think 10,000 of these to get started, but I'm also sending them out to testing to make sure they pass because everything is can you imagine rolling a batch of these and then having it go to testing and fail for something? I'd lose a batch
Right.
of 5-gram pre-rolls. Jeez. If they're doobies, there's no such word as pre-roll in my life anymore. It's back to the doobies and the lids, right? Doobies and
Yeah,
lids.
there
Dave.
you go.
Doobies and lids.
So do you pre-roll? I mean, are those hand rolled?
Yeah. So they come already in a tube, and then I grind it up and I just pack it, and it's got this little wooden packer. I just kind of grind it up, pack it in there. It smokes really slow. It smokes good and clean.
Wow.
Last one, it stays
Very
lit. So you can
cool.
put it down for 5 minutes and go back to smoking it. Stays lit.
Right, like a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that's also part of the cure of the flower itself. Cured aged flour will just hold that cherry going.
So does it have a filter on it, Patrick?
It's got a little, it's like a little, I don't know if you can, I don't know if we can see that. It's got like a little bamboo
Oh,
filter
yeah.
thing inside there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very
pretty neat.
cool.
Oh, it's kind of like a Tipperillo.
Yeah. Where'd you go? You moved. There you are. Yep. Kind of like a Tipperillo.
Hey, Patrick, I have a question. How do you weigh a pumpkin? I've always wondered. How do you weigh-
This is actually a great question. And so there's a lot of ways you can do there's guesstimates by circumference. There's even apps on your phone that you can do. But one time I grew a 700-pound pumpkin and if I used the app for circumference, it would have told me it was like 260 pounds or 50 pounds. But every pumpkin's different. Some have really hollow in the middle and really thick skin, and then some have little skin and they're bigger hollow in the middle. But we put everything on pallets and then I build a sand mound on it. And then I usually will get, but I didn't this year, I'd get this big fish net that's like a big fisherman, heavy woven fish net, and I lay it underneath. And then I get a piece of my equipment, my loader or forklift, and I drove over it, using a loader, and then we pick it up like that. And then I have a huge pallet scale that weighs the weights of pallets. And so it's a trick, no doubt about it. That's a great question. Like, how do you weigh a pumpkin? Like, yeah, that's a
Really?
good question.
God,
Yeah.
that's quite a deal.
It's
That's
exciting. I tell you, we have junior farmers. Every year I give out seeds and we cultivate giant pumpkins with our junior farmers. And so every year I give away, hundreds of seeds locally and then I'll go out there and I'll help the kids and the parents, take care of it, because just like cannabis and cultivation, but especially with giant pumpkins, you have to put a lot of care because you have to get that giant, when a pumpkin's growing, and you have vines going out, those vines, when you bury them in the right area, become its own root zone. So let's say you have your stalk and your vine goes here, and your vine's going, you have a pumpkin here, and the vine continues. If you bury that vine down here, then you have two root zones going right into the middle, and it's both feeding that pumpkin. There's all these little tricks. So with the junior farmers, they get so excited. And they love it. And when you even with an adult, you get so excited, not just junior farmers, but you can watch. Yeah, I wish you could hear.
Wow.
So this was one of our junior farmers. Thank you for putting that up. But this is one of our junior farmers who won first place, and he won $1,000. I think it was 1,000 or 300, something like that year.
Wow.
And so, first year growing pumpkins, we gave him seeds, and we entered it, and he blew all the adults away, and he won first place prize for that one. It's hard to get pumpkins to, that you can grow them really big, but to get them to the finish line is the trick. And so, yeah, that kid was awesome. He's lecturing us right now about coming back the next year and whooping on us. And so when you can get a child, when you can teach a child how to get excited about agriculture, you have done more for educating that child than anything, because he can now take care of his entire family. He can create a business out of it. He understands passion. You take the ability of growing away from a grocery store and that need into producing their own backyard pharmaceuticals and food, bringing it in and feeding the family. I mean, it's absolutely magical. It really is. It's magic. So, yeah.
That's
exciting.
awesome.
We're gonna get you guys growing one next year, Nikki. I'll get you some giant seeds next year, Nikki. Well, you can join the team.
So who taught you how to grow things, Patrick, when you were a little boy?
It's in my blood. I mean, it was I'm a 5th generation Johnny Appleseed. So it's in my bloodline, and agriculture is my first priority. Anything agriculture, not just cannabis by any means. Remember, my biggest thing is I preach there's no segregation in agriculture. That's the problem we have with society, is we have so much segregation. There's no segregation in agriculture. Agriculture is agriculture, and we got to get past that point. So my first pictures as a kid, my first memories are in a strawberry patch. When I was a kid, I was growing flowers and plants in the backyard when other kids were out playing basketball and playing with Hot Wheels, and it was just this, it's a consistent thing that's been in my life, is agriculture. So I don't know where it came from, other than probably generation passed on down the line. My father has it. A lot of my brothers, my sister, other family members never have this attachment to agriculture, but it's my therapist, that's for sure. Definitely, right? It's my serenity. It's my love.
Right.
My passion. It's my honor. Right. It's my responsibility. All that in agriculture. Yeah.
So do your girlfriends get jealous of your pumpkins?
Nikki.
I mean, that's a good question. And I don't even know how to answer that, because I really haven't found one that is really there yet. Maybe I got one now, I think, but yeah. But I can tell you right now that I would say that's a hard question. No. It's a lonely passion, but I'm looking for a companion in that compassion, right? And I think I might have found one. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I grew up, my aunts and uncles had dairy farms up in New York State, and my older brother and I used to go up there and work on the farm in the summer. But yeah, they always had vegetable gardens, but I was never really much into the vegetable gardens. I was more likely to go up in the hill and go to the blueberry patch and just harvest a whole couple of pounds of blueberries. And so on. But it was a dairy farm, and we did hay and oats and so on. So I kind of got an idea of the infrastructure and that you need to have a farm operation, right? So I'm kind of doing that in miniature up here. But anyway, so actually the farm that they had was about 160 acres, which is kind of a little bit what we have up here. It's a interesting kind of concept.
We should be able to grow better blueberries than we have them.
Yeah, we haven't, if the birds
Yeah.
get the blueberries and
Yeah.
yeah, but they had like hundreds of blueberry bushes, and so somehow the birds didn't get all of them. But yeah.
They like a high in alkaline or high in acid. There's one or the other soil they like better than the other. I can't remember on blueberries, isn't it?
What did you say?
Acidic.
Yeah, it's really acidic. That's right, Greg. Yeah, you want acidic soil.
Oh,
Definitely.
acidic, really acidic soil. I see. Okay, yeah.
I thought you said you felt like you were high on acid. And I thought, okay, that's cool. Right?
That's what blueberries do for you, right?
That's a good weed.
I eat blueberries every day for breakfast.
I sound like Smurfberries.
Okay.
Swami.
Does California Leaf want to say something? You better unmute if you do.
Oh, I was just chiming in that would be some good weed if you felt like you were on acid.
Yeah. Well, that's always what Swami calls cannabis, the everyday psychedelic.
Right. Changes
Swami on acid.
your awareness for sure.
Yeah.
Swami, can
Pretty
you tell me
amazing
something?
in these last elections.
I
What's
got
that?
a question. I got a question for Swami and Nikki. When I was up at your beautiful farm, something magical happened to me. And I was touched with new beginnings. Can you tell me about my new beginnings? Who touched me?
Was that when you met Ganesh?
Exactly right. Yeah, it was when Ganesh pulled me in. Can you give us a little
Well,
back on
You know,
Ganesh?
it's very interesting. Now that I look at you, you look like Ganesh, right? That if you take your beard and make it like an elephant trunk, right?
Yeah.
Right? And with just two more arms, and then you need so on and so forth. But the Ganesh is the Lord of beginnings, right? He's the protector of women, right?
Right.
He's auspicious. Anytime you start something new, you ask his help in overcoming obstacles.
Thank you. There's Ganesh.
He's the one who
Verily,
helps overcome obstacles, right?
Great.
And he loves to dance. He loves to eat sweets, right? His favorite are like donut holes, right? And but he's also can be a disciplinarian. He's a great figure, and he.
So you met Ganesh here at the entry into our ranch.
I
There's
never really-
a very large Ganesh statue. He weighs probably about 1,800 pounds, and he's made of black granite, and he comes from Southeast India. We have a few pieces of sculpture from the same sculptor area that are all about that big here on the property. That's kind of why we needed to get this land actually in the very beginning, because I had all these giant statues coming from India and nowhere to put them, living in San Francisco. So Ganesh is right there at the gate, and Patrick met Ganesh there, and that's where you guys got to know each other. And he's a very, he's very jovial. He's a good friend. But yet he's your protector. He's really a protector.
I think at first it was almost an intimidation feeling, and then it was this welcoming feeling, and it was new beginnings. My life is changing and it's brand new. And I really put into, and the protector, looking at that was probably the intimidation, was the protector of the women and the ladies of the garden, which are the plants. So that was that first approach, but it was just like walking. I normally walk by, or I get this, or I'm walking by. The last time I had that type of feeling was in jungles of the Big Island, right? Where it really touched my soul. And at that moment, I knew that something happened and I need more. And Ganesh was that beacon of light that touched me. And when I learned about new beginnings, I realized I was there right then to hear that message, and I heard it loud. I heard it loud. So yeah, can't wait to learn more.
That's fantastic.
Blessings, yeah.
That's great, because when we got this land back in 2003, it was really, originally we got it to be a sanctuary. We really seriously did. We asked our teacher in India I had all these statues. I have this icon addiction basically, and I admit it. And they kept growing. It started out with small statues and then it got into the 1-ton variety. So I asked our teacher in India, what can I do? We need to have some sort of a sanctuary to be able to put all these statues so that people can see them and we can share them and all that. And the teacher said, go now, you'll find it. And he said, and you can take this guy with you, because Swami was just living in India then. And he said, you know, he can build anything, take him, he can help you do it. So Swami kind of got released from living in India. And we came back and that Ganesh was, went right in, you know, he fit right in there at the gate, and the other statues followed. And now we've got quite a contingent here. A lot of statues representing all kinds of traditions, because, you know, just like you're talking about with the vegetables and agriculture, you know, tomatoes are always going to get along with cucumbers, right? Or anything for that matter.
Yeah.
So that's how we feel about any of the traditional gods and goddesses. There's a saying in Hinduism, Ekam Sat Viprav Bahudra Vadanti, and that means the gods are many. The gods are one, they just come in different names, basically. You know, the truth is one, it just shows itself in many different ways. And so we're just always trying to share that wisdom along with growing the cannabis here. It's turned into a real sanctuary place as well. And cannabis certainly goes along with that wisdom, because cannabis mellows us out. You know, it's kind of hard to be a white supremacist to be stoned on cannabis. I just don't, I can't imagine that, you know? So it's, hopefully it just like sort of all goes together.
I suppose, yeah.
Well, I tell you, everybody here and everybody that watches this know that you can meet all these statues on November 27th when I release season 3, episode 1, Nikki and Swami. Like, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna release it on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. All of them are going to be
great.
Be released on all in that time, and you're really going to understand and get the behind the scenes. I mean, it's great to meet and see us at events and do other things, but when you really feel the love and passion, or really what goes in to everything that they do, it's really magical. I use that word a lot, pioneer cannabis and magical, but it's really magical and it touches your soul. And now you understand the whole process from seed to soul. And when you go out looking for product at a dispensary, you not only want to love what you're smoking, but you want a relation with who grew it, with who cultivated it, and where it came from. Be part of that entire process. I mean, that in itself is magical. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's great you're doing these day in the life things, Patrick. I love that. And, you know, because we really have to be about education. That's really, that's our duty, I think, as the pioneers, is the ones to, you know, the next generation will take it over. It'll be much better understood than it has been for us as the pioneers. But that's our duty, I feel. It's really our calling, is to share this information and break down the fear around it. You know, that's one of the things that Ganesh does. When he has his hand like this, just flat like this, looking out, that means freedom from fear. And that's a very powerful thing, because fear is, you know, so ingrained in us. And basically a lot of religions want to put you in fear, or a lot of politicians, you know, fear is a good control method. We know that. So to have the freedom from fear, you know, is really important. How did I get on that? Right.
No, you're right. No,
but it's true.
We were going on content. So I was going to say something on the content. Oh, so when I'm doing these episodes, and I watch these episodes, I watch other network channels and other people do them where they're not of our culture. They don't understand our culture, but they come in with, you know, their video guys, their producers, and they do a show, but they're not of our culture. They can never really understand.
Right.
So the beauty that I love this. I love going in because I'm telling the story of my people, of my culture. I'm giving you the experience I've had over my life, right? And you can't, unless you're in it and of it, you'll never understand it. And we can put it on content in a video platform for other viewers to really understand it and see what we're delivering on it. Like, we can tell the story, like we can portray the story. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patrick, I have a question for you. You've done other programs like this,
Yep.
A Day in the Life. Where can people, can you put up something on the chat line about where people can connect with other shows you've done about other subjects and so on?
Tara can. There's my man Derek.
Actually, I do want to make a shout out to Tara Lee.
Tara Lee can.
Tara Lee has been putting up all kind of beautiful graphics and so on, really highlighting the show. So thank you very much.
I'm gonna grab some water real quick.
It's helping me in
Okay,
Australia.
okay.
I'll tell you that, Tara.
Just make sure there's not too much arsenic in it, Patrick.
Tara Lee Live,
Okay,
okay.
Greg, I didn't
Cool.
Greg's sharing that.
We appreciate you, Tara.
Yeah,
Thanks,
okay.
Greg.
Thank you, yeah.
So Tara, where are you actually?
I'm in Washington State, but I met you guys at the Hive and hung out with you with Dragonfly down, and then also
Right.
met you down at the Regenerative Conference. And then I also met
Oh, yeah,
Patrick.
right.
Just this last summer, I went down and helped out at Sunabis's Wendy's farm during the fire situation. I went down there to help her, and I met Patrick, and he was there doing one of these videos with Wendy. So it was just all this timing was really cool.
Season 3, episode 2 is Sunabis, and it'll be delivered at Christmas. We'll have that one. It'll be Sunabis. So that's going to be really exciting. We had John Easterling, Olivia Newton-John's husband, up there. I brought Julie up there from Skunk, and at the end we all broke bread as we broke. So it's all part of that whole experience as well, too. Yeah, it was great. Charlie was awesome.
What a great community we have. I'm just thinking of how tight it really is. Actually, Julie's going to be our next guest on the next session with Swami coming up on December 3rd. Julie's the co-owner and editor-in-chief of Skunk Magazine, and she's doing a great job, really, of talking about this green renaissance, is how she puts it, and really promoting that. We're so lucky to have people out there that are willing. There's certain, like California Leaf, for example, there's certain publications that are just so open to really getting our message out with the right frame around it. That's really lucky, because I used to work for the press, and there's a lot of press that doesn't do that. So we're very, very lucky to have the good coverage that we get.
Oh, there's
thanks
Jack.
to people like this.
Okay, thanks, Jack, for putting that one up.
Yeah, there you go.
There's Julie.
So you're right, Nikki,
Yeah,
with Julie. Julie's a fighter. We all know this. She's on the same mission, on the same team. She coined the word green renaissance in our industry. And you have to look at print media right now. Print media is gone through the same thing all these other businesses have done. They're just almost obsolete, not there. And if you look at the last 4 covers of Skunk Magazine, they're powerful, and the content in it is incredible, right? So out of all, I keep telling her, I sit her down and I say, Julie, just look at what you've just done since last year, right? Going in the last 4 covers. Now go look at all the other print media out there and look at what they've done. It's hands down. She is still fighting in #1 in my book. She is #1 in print media. And if you read the content inside it, it is real content. It's not paid advertising stuff. All of us are writing our own blogs in it. I'm sure everybody here is more than welcome to send her a message or send me a message. If you want to be a blog writer, you can be a blog writer. Send it to me. I'll give you a portal. You can figure all that out. There's the last 4 issues, and then the third one. There's for me to come after Jack Herrera, it's such a big honor, but it almost doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? And Jack Hare is just something else, and I'm so overwhelmed with gratitude to even be up on that. I mean, look at that. Like, I can't even believe that to Derek. Derek is something else. Wendy and Derek. That picture right there. That's it. Like, there we are. Right. That's business. That's our business. That's what we do right there.
That's hilarious.
That's great. Derek's here too in the room, the chat room.
That is.
That's great. Yeah, I also want to say Wendy is part of the Ganjier Council. She's been a very valuable participant in the Ganjier Council, especially about cultivation and so on.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a pleasure to get to know her. I didn't know her before that. So she's really got it all together.
And I see Derek has joined us, Derek Gilman, who is
The
the
coordinator.
main guy behind this whole Ganjier thing. I mean, he's doing so much work for a couple of years now to get this thing off the ground. And it's I don't know how you can hurt him, Derek.
Let's
You
do
know,
it. Derek,
talk
can we
about
get Derek?
hurting cats.
Can we get Derek to tell us about the Ganjier program?
And Derek, you're muted, buddy.
So
You're
Derek,
muted. You're muted, Derek.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
hey Derek.
Ganjier, yes. We've been in development with Ganjier for close to 2 years now. And effectively, we have developed a certification to train an entirely new class of cannabis professional. The cannabis sommelier, if you know what a sommelier is in wine. That's what we're doing for cannabis. That's what we're doing with Ganjier. And we invited and created this council, what we're calling the Ganjier Council, that included 17 of the industry's just thought leaders and experts and specialists in their field, the most respected people in each of their areas of expertise, and asked them to help us develop this certification. We put in a whole lot of work. There was a whole lot of pushing and pulling. That said, we have developed something that I am quite proud of. And if you want to learn more, go to ganjier.com. That said, starting next week, we have a very exciting video campaign that we're going to start dropping. And it's going to be very fun. And I look forward to everybody checking it out.
I'm just excited to be part of it, man.
Fantastic.
What's up, Matthew?
Okay. Oh, that reminds me, Derek, I'm going to check out the last half of the video I'm supposed to look at. I have to still do it. And
Derek is like our school teacher. He gives us our homework assignments,
but we've been bucking weed for 10, 12 hours a day. So
thank you for your patience, Derek, with all of us.
I get it. I get it. Believe me. No, I just finished up my harvest a couple weeks ago myself. So yeah, I completely understand. I know the process.
Yeah, okay.
Great. You grow some more of that beautiful pineapple you grow?
Yeah, you know I did.
Yeah, you did. That is good pineapple. I would agree.
Yeah. And the frankincense that we assessed at our second council meeting, the one you guys said tasted and smelled like belly button lint.
That's right. That's what we said. That's
Yeah,
exactly
really?
what we teased him really good. We all teased Derek. We all knew it was good, but we told him it smelled like belly button lint. Yeah.
I see that. Yeah. Well, that leaves a lot to the imagination, actually.
Well, I can't wait to see what you come out with next, Derek, and just how this whole thing progresses. And
yeah, it's
been
very
amazing.
exciting. And yeah, we're gonna start revealing and releasing our masterclass style videos that we filmed with each of the 18 instructors in the Ganjier certification.
It was
Okay.
12 when we started.
Right.
Wasn't it 12 and now it's went up to 15 and then you just said 17 and now 18.
We kept including, well, I feel a little modest to include myself in this.
Okay, that's
So
great.
17 experts and then 18 if you include myself.
Okay, perfect. You're in the car, buddy. You're in the car.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because yeah, as Nikki was saying, you had to herd us together. So that's your expertise. And how do you get a bunch of stoners to even meet in the same place at the same time? So that's definitely, but you're also a fine cultivator, as much as we tease you. So I'm happy to smoke your weed anytime.
Yep.
So, and let me say, just also I want to say hello to Cam. So Cam and Marnie down there, another grower that did his first crop this year.
Happy birthday this week, Cam.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay. And then I see a new one, 710 Canuck, who has joined us with a beard like I used to
You
have.
got a great beard going on there.
And,
Yeah.
where are you coming in from?
I'm from
Can
up
you
north in Canada
unmute?
here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Canada.
Yep.
Yeah,
we
I'm
can
just
hear
up. I'm just up north here in Canada. Friends with Tara Lee and Drake over there. Oh, Tom, Red in chat there. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
great.
As well.
Well, welcome.
I brought a whole crew with me here today.
I love
Okay,
it.
Sarah Lee. Oh,
I
that's
love
wonderful.
it.
Thanks a lot.
That's great.
Okay.
Good. I think we should have some sort of a beard competition soon, or just a display of beards. You know?
You definitely got
Great
a
beards.
couple years on me.
I don't know. That's a pretty good beer you got there, Canuck. That's pretty good beer. I gotta
Yeah,
tell you.
really.
I'm
Appreciate
a little
it.
jealous.
Appreciate it.
I'm a little jealous
Yeah.
right now. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you're doing fine, Patrick. Patrick, is there anything else you want to talk about while we have people's attention here?
You hit on Hawaii, so let's just talk. You know, I got a magical spot on the Big Island of
Yeah.
Hawaii, on the rainy side and the jungle and the Pahoa side. I've been doing consulting and meeting and for a few years, and you know that is another spot that's, I would say, saved my life. Definitely. Keep some sanity in this head. I usually go there every 6 weeks to two months, but with COVID, it kind of set it back. I am going there November 29th, which I can't wait to get back there. Of this, you know, in another 10 days or whatever that is. So we are actually going to be doing a lot of events at a place called Kalani Resort on the Big Island. And yeah, there's just wait and see. Like there's some really good stuff. Nikki, a few of us are going to be flying over there here pretty soon, probably after the first of the year. But I can't tell you what we're really planning, but it's huge. Like we got some really, I just can't talk about it yet. But let me tell you, this is the spot. This is the spot. It's about community. So I love when I say it's about community in the spot. Monetary contribution in this neck of the woods is, you know, so-and-so goes up, climbs the trees, and his job is to go get coconuts in the morning and drop them off at your doorstep. Somebody else's to pull some roots up so they can make some, you know, fry up in coconut oil, some potato chips for the day. Other people will go out, throw nets, and bring in fish. Other people will go harvest flowers. It's when I walk over there with pocket full of money and it means absolutely nothing. It's like barter trade. And that's what our community was born on. We barter trade, right? That's beautiful. And so when I get to go to places and experience that atmosphere and people living off the land and loving one another and, you know, cultivating with beautiful gardens, it's something. There we go again. It's magic, right? So yeah, so we're doing some good events. Some big things are happening. Just stay tuned. It's going to be, I can't even talk about it, but it's happening.
Okay, Patrick. Well, you know, that's quite a teaser.
I think we need a Gange council meeting there.
Yes, we do. Where's Derek at? Did Derek leave us? He left
No,
us.
I haven't left. What are you talking about, man? We got to do a Gange Council in Hawaii. I like that idea.
Yeah. What do you think here,
I
Derek?
think so.
We heard it on that. Oh, there you are. I'm looking all over. Okay, put it on your budget, buddy. We're going. No, I got you covered. I'll bring you. I got you. I will get you a trip out there with me.
I would absolutely love that, man.
I'll even cover. I'll get you all covered. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, we're recording this. You got that, Derek?
I did.
That's right. It's
My
on
word-
tape.
my word's solid. My word's solid. I live
Yeah,
it.
I've never been to
Well,
Hawaii.
it sure is fun to talk with you, Patrick King. It always is. And you got amazing stories and what a history. And we're just really proud to have you as, you know, working with you, but also as our dear friend. So
Yeah.
that's a double whammy excellence.
So what she said. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, we've just gotten to know you over the last, what, 5 or 6 years. I think the first time I had a memorable encounter with you was at one of those farmers markets down at Tim Blake's place at Area 101. And we were selling lids like hotcakes, and you came in with a camera crew and videotaped us. Whatever happened to that stuff? Did you make a video presentation out of that? I don't think I ever saw that whole episode that day.
Powerly, it's on my YouTube channel. It's called A Day in the Life Emerald Cup, I think. And it was a Day in the Life Emerald Cup. It was not Emerald Cup, but it was what Area 101, but I think it's Soil King and an Emerald Cup. It's one of the Day in the Life series on
and that was a bunch of years ago, right?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's when I was like, I still had that passion. I wanted people to know what we did. I wanted to capture what we did before it was a lost art, right? We are cut from the same cloth, but there's not many of us that are cut from the same cloth. And we're the last of the dying breed. There's no doubt of it. We are the last of the dying breed. And if we don't tell our stories, they'll be gone, right? And we can't have somebody from out of our industry, another network channel or something, come in and try to tell our story, because if you're an editor or a producer of a show, you're involved in that show. And when you can really see, you know, the next moves ahead, and when you're of that culture, it's so easy, like all the hitting points and editing on the editing points, like they can tell a whole different story on the editing, but in the editing, I can tell a story because I am the story. You are the story. We are this story. You know, so
right.
Saving the cultures.
Yeah, and you can actually even change the whole meaning with the soundtrack too, that, you know, you can have words and then play an ominous soundtrack in the background and make it sound really bad, or the same thing. So yeah, it's really important to try and control the message to whatever extent we can. That's true. Yeah.
And it's not cannabis. We're way more than cannabis. We're so much more than cannabis. So much more.
Yeah.
It's true. But she's a great guiding light.
Yeah, definitely.
She's the teacher.
Yep.
So I want to say we're about to come. Anybody have any questions? Do you have something you want to add to? Just throw open the microphone for a second here. Or you can, you know, put Patrick on the spot or whatever you want to say. If you just flag your hand like this if you want to say something, and we can then unmute yourself.
Go ahead, Ed.
I think everyone got really high on that
Hey,
420 joint.
how you doing?
Go ahead, Derek.
Okay.
Doing good.
What did you learn this year I know you had some struggles putting out your soil and having to take it to yourself to get to your products out to across the land. What did you learn in that process, Pat?
I learned that distributors suck. and I can do all the sales I want. If I can't control the delivery, then I've lost. So I have Hydro Farm as my distributor. I have a few other distributors all over, and Spare Time Supply is a distributor. And what I learned is if I don't become my own distributor and take care of my own distribution needs, then Ed cultivators and people like you are never going to get the product. So we have taken our own, not in compete, but we are doing our own. I've set up my own distribution center in Oklahoma, my own in Denver. We're looking on launching a few other ones as well across the country going into 2021 season. And, it's hard when I have a customer ordering soil at a store in Maine or a store somewhere across the country, and I have a distributor, which is Hydro Farm, and it takes them 6 weeks to get a store stocked in spring. There's a problem there when I can do it in 3 days, right? Yeah. So if you can't handle my business for me, I'm going to handle my business for me without you. And so that's the biggest lessons I learned is I have to rely on myself in order to keep the machine rolling and get the goods to the people who are supporting me, right? And that's where it's at. So the biggest learn is redevelopment everywhere, and I'm in control of my own destiny moving forward in 2021 season. Worldwide, definitely.
Right on.
Yay.
I
Good
also
thinking.
learned, I also learned one thing that's even more important, and that's reciprocal relationships, right? And the power with the reciprocal relationships is that I always wanted to help everybody and carry everybody and spend all my energy. And it's okay to be helping everybody, but at some point there's reciprocal relationships and people that give value and need value of me that give back, that actually deserve a lot of this energy that I give. And so I have to let go. And that was a huge learning over the last year, is really a year and a half, almost 2 years, is letting go and realizing that's not a bad thing to let people go. They're acquaintances. Just doesn't mean I don't like them, but it means that if I'm not getting what I need in return, giving it, then I shouldn't focus on as much energy on that and really hone into the people who are worthy of my time. And likewise, back with me, right? I want to have lovable relationships that have integrity and feel like they're giving to me and I'm returning that favor. And so reciprocal relationships is that's the number one thing I learned this year. Reciprocal relationships. Reciprocal relationships.
Beautiful, beautiful. And
Yeah.
Swami,
Thank you, Patrick. That's beautiful. So,
Swami, I see. Are you guys gonna have one day do any product in a doobie style pre-roll, like infused with maybe some Frenchie's hash or something?
Frenchie's hash.
Frenchie has to get legal first. Yeah, we'll probably eventually do a pre-roll. We're working up to it. It's Swami's pretty particular about his Swami joints that he rolls.
Yeah.
They're not 5 grams, but they're probably like 3 grams each. So maybe we'll be the middle size, Patrick. You'll be the king size, which makes sense because you're Patrick King. And we'd be the middle size.
Let's do it.
Well, also there's another concept. Actually, I better not tell this other concept about a pre-roll. Our problem with pre-rolls is how to maintain freshness. And then there are all kinds of things so that every one of those steps to keep freshness is also usually a touch situation where some employee has to do and then the more packaging you have, the more of an ecological footprint you have. And so, the best thing is a glass tube actually for freshness. But then again, it's a lot of problems with getting a joint that I would be happy to smoke. That's the kind of bottom line. Is there something I would open up and say, oh yeah, that's what I would like to smoke. And so I know for everyone else, it's a real convenience, but for me, a pre-roll is, I'll sit down and I might roll 2 or 3 joints and then I'll smoke and I'll put when I'm in a glass tube and I'll smoke one and during the day I might smoke a couple of the others. That's a pre-roll. If it's much more older than that.
It'd be great when the clubs open up again to people coming in, all those lounges that were just starting to open when COVID happened. I mean, what a shame. But I mean, I always have this image of, like the restaurants that used to come to your table and make the Caesar salad next to the table, right? So somebody would come to your table and roll that joint for you right there, and you'd have it as fresh as it can be.
Or it's like a pour over coffee, right? At the coffee shop. It's not like it's in an urn or whatever. Hey, they made it fresh right in front of you. It's a sushi bar, right? So that, this is a thing, you got your choice. And, you don't really have to smell it so much, that because the terpenes are listed on the jar and the THC and the CBD and all that stuff. And so it's all there for you to make your choice. And then someone will just roll you a beautiful joint. And how big do you want it? That would be the other thing. I find that my joints, very few people can actually finish one of the joints that I roll. And so, so actually maybe it'd be better to have a smaller joint for the average customer so that it's a fresh one, right? Because the smoke, smoking even a 3-inch or inch and a half roach joint is still different from a fresh one, right? So all of those things are technical problems that I haven't really felt there was something I could put out that I really wanted to put my name on as a smoking experience, right?
Yes, you are working with the right man though, because I have got Mr. Seeds the Soil's pre-rolls or in the packaging with the glass case, with the cork end, with the wick at the end where you open the wax. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it right there. And so with this
Yeah.
condition, the way I designed this is it's like a little humidor. So with a cork in the wax dip and stored in a conditioned environment, a year later, we're pulling these things out and they're great. And when we use pop tops
Yeah.
and all these other plastic things, within a month that starts degrading and tastes horrible and dries out and you lose the terpene profiles. But when you seal it in a thick glass, and this is amber too, for I even thought of it being UV protected with amber. And it really holds that terpene profile and freshness in these pre-rolls.
All right, we'll be talking about that, Patrick. We'll be talking about that. Now, I have a funny story to tell about the wax seal on the end of a tube. We got from, what was it, from Aficionado, from Leo, we got these beautiful joints in a glass tube, and, you know, they had the wax seal on the top, and I think it was gold around it or something, like super joint they gave. I don't know, they were costing 60, 70 bucks. They gave us one. So I'm out there with a friend of mine in the parking lot at the Flamingo and the Emerald Cup, and we can't figure out how to open it, right? I'm trying to peel it off and I'm trying to take it off. And this thing is so sealed up, I can't figure out how to open it, right? So at the end, we're all totally frustrated. So I reached out and just broke it on a stone. There was a little stone wall there. I broke it on a stone. I said, okay, we get the thing. And then we were telling a story about a month later, a friend of mine said, well, you had a lighter, right? You could have just melted the wax. Right? And it's like, duh, stoner, right? It's like, but we actually get to smoke the joint. And I picked up the little piece of the glass and so on and so forth. But it was like, packaging is really important. Packaging is really important.
So how we handled that, Swami, is I took
Okay.
the top of the wax with a cork. I don't know if is it right here? No, it's still not there. But I used wick, hemp wick. And I wrapped it around the cork before I dipped it. So now you just grab the hemp wick, you twist it off and pop the cork. That was an issue that I came up with.
Oh, brilliant.
Now you just grab the hemp wick, pull it off, it cracks the seal and you pull it off. So that was an issue. Nobody wants to get a lighter out.
Good idea.
Nobody wants to break it, right? You have to have a solution for that. And I'm glad you talked about that because you're the only one that said, hey, that's awesome. I mean, Ed knows it. Ed's seen it. He's grabbed a hemp wick and pulled it off to open it. Yep. Yeah.
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay.
That's brilliant.
So anybody else want comments or something like that we'll, otherwise we're going to sign off and thank Patrick very much for a wonderful, entertaining session here. And we're going to keep up the conversation about all of this. And so thank you everyone for coming on. And
I just want to say
we'll see you guys here tomorrow, Patrick.
Amy's out there. I've seen Amy's out there. Hi, Amy.
Stay high, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Eris. Hi, Amy. Derek is there.
Hey, Amy.
Okay. And thanks to Jack Reardon, who does our social media, and for a guest appearance by Tara Lee. And also thank you to Derek for a little explanation. So anyway, blessings to all of you and stay high and Om Aim Hrim Kleem Stream Ganjamaye Namah.
Bye.
Tipu says goodbye to
Bye.
you. Does he want to howl?
No.
No? Okay. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, so much
Hey,
for joining.
everybody.
Wait, Tipu does want to howl. It's kind of a tradition.
Anyway, okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you all.